you know? So it's really interesting to watch her go through these things, such as, just briefly, the whole feeling the need for a restraining order against Sheena because of how she felt.
Right.
But she regretted that earlier at the reunion, wrote Sheena a note, right?
Mm-hmm.
But now you're doubling down on, no, I needed that restraining order. It sounds like we've been practicing for this. And that kind of like stuck on my mind. And I don't know if this is true. This is just kind of what I'm feeling. And these are my opinions right now. And then also to all of a sudden not trust Tom, right? This love of your life that you guys were together. But while you were away in rehab, you're handing over the keys to your apartment. Someone brought that up in a comment. And I was like, that is very valid. You know, there's a lot of backwoods hypocrisy going on right now. So
I mean, should we just jump into the beginning?
Please.
All right. I have my notes here. The same friend Dakota. I've stopped like bombarding you, Jason, with my notes because everyone knows that I text my notes to you. And I don't do that anymore because Jason's like, fuck, use pages, use notes. That's
no,
what
just
it's
use
for.
notes. We can even share a note if that makes you feel like you're talking to someone.
No. Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Funny. Actually, right now I'm talking to almost 700 people. So everyone smash that like button. We're going to start here. She starts off this second part of the conversation and it's like, boom, you get right into it. This morning I was gone. I was getting coffee. Jason calls me and he goes, literally the first 60 seconds, it's about Sheena. And I was like, so I played it. She said, Sheena did physically assault me. She shoved me against a brick wall as hard as she could, and she punched me in the face, and she left a scar on my face. Okay. She, from there, said she felt like she was in danger. She was scared for her life. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to sit there and negate how anyone feels. I don't want to take away from someone. If you say that you feel nervous or scared, I don't want to say that you don't, because I'm not you. However, this might be a little biased, and I'll take that on the chin, but Sheena is the least intimidating person I've ever met in my life. If you get emotion from her, it's because she's crying or she's really fucking happy. There's not like I mean, sure, does everyone have a moment where you get angry or whatever? And did this all come out and we know that there was a back and forth between her and that, you know, she shoved her and did all of these things? Yes, but it's just so hard to believe that, and this isn't defending Sheena because I've known Sheena, because I have no problem telling anyone, and I've lost relationships, especially with Bravo talent, over this. I don't care. If I feel like you're wrong, then this is my channel. If I come off biased all the time, then I'll lose followers. So I might as well just say how I feel because that's authentic to me. And in this, I'm like, there's not one fucking person that is afraid of Sheena.
Here, let me put it into perspective as someone who's not as, you know, like you're a lot closer to Sheena, right? Okay. Raquel is yay high. She's about this tall, let's say.
She's like as tall as me.
Right. Sheena is like yay high. Right. So for her to get like a roundabout, you know, fist punch in your eye, like it's going to take some work or a ladder. So I don't think it would be like, you know, the thing is that you didn't report it right away. You waited till you got back to California, right? Then you regretted the decision. Now you're doubling down that you got the restraining order. And, you know, someone in the live chat just said, you know, Bethenny prepped her for this interview. I actually think Bethenny didn't, but Bethenny is using this as ammunition for her reality reckoning.
Which makes sense. Honestly, if I were Bethenny, who better?
Right. And I do believe that it was, you know, Rachel's people that reached out to Bethenny because Rachel needs a redemption in some way. Her redemption arc has long gone from Vanderpump Rules at this point. But I definitely think she was prepped. You know, this was definitely like, these are the things we're going to do. These are the things we're going to say. You know, she seems a little more ready for this conversation. So I don't know. And, you know, I think, you know, like Alabama Camper in the live chat just said, and a paycheck, you know, like she's like, everyone's getting theirs. Let me get mine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. T-Talk with Shaw. The assault case was dropped for a reason. Okay. Joanne Hendricks said, oh, well, super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting. Listen, Fear 061. Sheena is no threat. Shut up, Rachel. My thing is, again, like Tea Talk with Shaw said, it was dropped for a reason. Now, you, after or during the reunion, you had a letter that had no actual merit to it because it was this drafted legal letter that was never actually filed. And it was used as sort of, honestly, like a prop. Like if you think about Monique Samuels bringing the binder to the Real Housewives of Potomac, or if you think about some of the housewives who bring posters or cue cards, or I have the text messages, they all act as a prop to serve a storyline on the show, right? So I think for her, having this note that had no legal merit to it and having this given to Andy to be given to Sheena on the stage, this all contributes to the machine, because that's what we keep calling it in this interview. The Machine is the reality TV show, which is under the umbrella of Bravo, which is under the bigger umbrella of NBC, right? So if in that moment you took it back and you said, you know what, I want this to be done, and then you didn't show up to court, right? Sheena showed up to court because that was on tape, and you see her walking out, and she had her family, like she was fully, she had her attorney, and you saw that like paparazzi just like following her as she was walking, and I'm sure she was super relieved. But Raquel, if you felt like you were in that much danger, I'm just going to tell you, if I ever get punched in the face by anyone and I feel that way and I feel nervous, not only will I get the restraining order, I'm taking your ass to court. I am following through. I'm trying to press every charge that I can get on you. And I'm definitely going to try to take your ass to the bank. If you feel comfortable enough to violate me and rip apart my face, then yes, I'm going to do my best to destroy you, because that's how I feel. And in this moment, that's not, you didn't show up. So how do you give a note? And I'm not trying to take anything from Rachel. I'm just saying this doesn't make sense. How do you give a note? You file a temporary restraining order. You say that your mom encouraged you to do it. You have this fake legal letter, and then you don't show up to court. And then 6 months later, you come back. So now Sheena's been vindicated in some sense. But then you come back 6 months later, and part 2 starts off with, I was afraid for my life.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I see a lot of people about saying maybe Bravo pressured her to drop it. Like Lindsay in live chat said, shoving someone is still assault, and it doesn't matter if she only pushed her or didn't punch her, it's still assault. Charges were dropped because Rachel was basically bullied into doing so for the reunion. The restraining order was still in place during the reunion, which is exactly why they couldn't film together. So that, right? And then Joanna says, it's still assault. How you follow up with the report does not change that. Well, it might not change that, but it definitely changes the perception of how serious you were about following through with how you felt in that moment. So that, to me, says a lot about, like, do we believe? This is where I get, stuck in believing Raquel or Rachel. I really get stuck in, like, and I'm not doing that on purpose, guys. I'm just trying to choose a name. Everyone has a different name.
It's
on
like
this
Ariana
show.
and
Lala and
honestly,
Laura, and
for fuck's sake, say whatever you want.
Jackson, Jason. Damn. All right.
You identify as two different people, and right now you're giving us two different stories. So yes, you are Rachel and Raquel.
We have an alter ego going on here, and that's great. But I just, I don't know. Some of the things are just not adding up, and it just kind of feels as manipulated as the show felt at certain points this season.
Right. And I also, by the way, guys, I want to sit here and say, because I see the live chat, I am not saying that pushing someone is not assault. Okay.
Oh, no, 100%.
And I understand what assault is. And if I don't, the great thing is I have this iPhone right in front of me where I can Google define assault. And I do get what that means. I'm not an idiot, but I just, with the back and forth with the, oh no, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. My parents pushed me to do that. My mom pushed me to do that. And then you drop it. Then you don't show up to court. But then all of a sudden, 6 months later, this is behind Sheena. Sheena's moved on. At one point, and I know this for a fact, at one point, Sheena was sick to her stomach. She's like crying. She's taking time away from her baby. She felt like she was giving a lot to Raquel at the time, which I get. She felt like she was like a big sister to her. And she didn't understand why this was playing out the way that it was. Then we're putting it behind us, but then 6 months later, you're shoving it in her face again. That's the part. It's like, mean what you say and say what you mean. Which one is it? Yeah. You don't get to give two sides of the story and then kind of double down and then say that somebody else is doubling down.
that's where I have like, yeah, just issues with that. I don't know.
Oh, wait.
And
I have more notes.
No, like yesterday, I didn't misspeak, and I'm going to go ahead and say also too, when they were talking about and comparing the love addiction thing and all the different things that happen in your head, and you're just addicted to love and attention and whatever, and comparing it to drug use, you and I have had family friends who are literally laying in the street with a needle. Okay, that's called drug use, though. That's a drug addiction. That's crazy. That's very different than like, I just have this love thing and like I need some D. Like it's sex addiction is one thing. I know a love addiction is a thing. I get it. It's just for me and my personal experiences with having friends really hit rock bottom with drug use and just even starting that, I would recommend no one ever touch drugs, any kind.